Hello and welcome to another episode of Shades of Gay. That's right, we are back to bring you all the latest news, views, and of course, that all-important touch of shade. Now, if you've watched any of our previous episodes, you'll know that we probably give a little bit more than just a touch of shade. But hey, what would life be without a little bit of shade? Pretty boring, if you ask me. Again, welcome back to the show. We hope you've enjoyed all of our previous episodes so far, and thank you so much to everyone who's been in touch with all the love and support. We really do appreciate it. My name is Jay. I am going to be hosting the show this evening, but as always, I will not be hosting alone. I have the fabulous, the gorgeous, the beautiful blonde/pink bombshell, Susan McGrady, joining us. Hello, Susan.
Hello.
We have another bombshell with us again, and it is, of course, the bald bombshell. That is Mr. Rob Partridge. Hi, Rob.
Hi.
And our very special guest is another bombshell. He's our butch bombshell. It's the one and only Mr. Dan Considine. Hey, Dan, how you doing?
Hey, guys, how's it going?
Good, thank you. Good, thank you. We're really, really pleased to have you on the show. Thank you so much for joining us. And we're going to be chatting to you in depth just a little bit later on about all the goings on and things that you are up to at the moment. But to start us off, as always, we like to check in with each other and see how everyone's week has been. So, Rob, how has your week been, hon?
Well, do you know, since filming our New Year's Eve episode, as we did, I went against my own better judgment and I did make a couple of resolutions. So this morning, I looked back on them and realized that I hadn't actually started any of them. So I'm going to have to make them all again. So it's been kind of an uneventful and an unproductive week. So I shall start again tomorrow, as they always say.
Well, that's okay. I mean, is really that's what resolutions are for.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You make them to break them.
Yeah, I'm going to keep restarting them. And
are you going to restart with new ones, or are you just going to reset on the ones that you've already made?
Well, given that the ones I've already made are the same ones that I've been making for about the last 4 years, I think I'm just going to carry on with those. Do you know what they say? Never give up giving up.
Rob is not a quitter. He's not a quitter. I love it. Susan, how are you doing? How's your week been?
Spectacular. Excellent. I've had a good week. I'm happily embracing it not being 2020 anymore. Let us never talk about that whole thing ever again. Goodbye, good luck, out the door. It's time for all the newness of 2021 and the wonderful things that will bring. And I'm full of optimism and faking it.
Listen, you gotta fake it till you make it sometimes, and there's nothing wrong with that. There is nothing wrong with that. And if 2020 was a year and it was an act on Britain's Got Talent, it would have the 4 times across the board. Yeah. But I'm glad you're doing well. Good to hear it. Daniel, how has your week been, friend? How are you getting on?
It's been great. So I've just moved home to my home county of Longford from Galway. So we did that about 3 months ago, and new house, so much to do. But this week, big milestone for me. I started running in the last month and a half, and I've been criminally unfit for maybe a decade. And in the last week, I've run my first 5K without stopping, without walking, just go at a slow jog. A turtle's past me, but I was still somewhat running. So to me, for getting winded running up the stairs for the last 10 years, I'm just buzzing from it. So yeah, apart from that, just minding my little girl, helping out my wife. Started a new business a few weeks ago. That's going well. So yeah, it's all good in Drumlish, County Longford.
Glad to hear it. Give all of our love to everybody in Longford, and of course we're going to come back to you and talk to you about everything that's going on in a little bit more depth. Rob,
you didn't ask where I am.
I didn't ask, and you know what? I think I should be cut, fired, taken off the show. Get rid of me. How dare I? Replace me with Whoopi Goldberg. Rob, where are you filming from today?
So I'm at home today. We've had the veranda done, as you can see, looking out on our beautiful acreage. And I'm loving the theme. It's very tiki lounge. I should be sat here At the moment, I have a bit of wine. I'm going to change it for a cocktail when the sun goes down. So, it's all good.
And the houseboy is still there and he's doing well. He's serving you well.
I call him Brad, but yes, he did most of the work,
Brad, of course, is not his real name.
No, God, no.
You just call him that.
Yeah.
Reminds you of someone.
It saves me getting confused. They're all Brad. That it just makes it easier.
Love it.
As long as someone answers when I shout, that's all.
As long as someone comes with a tray and a beverage on it, you don't mind who it is.
Not at all, no.
No. Well, I have a good week myself. I got a little bit of good news. So I am going to be doing some workshops, thankfully, getting back into work now that restrictions have lifted a bit, and going into a school that I have worked with over the last couple of years doing musical theatre with. I help them out with their musical each year. It's a school called Colossus Curraba here in Galway. So I'm going to be going into them when school starts back, and we're going to be doing musical theatre workshop, and we're going to be working on the fantastic show that Rob and I got to do together, which is Hairspray. Unfortunately, we won't be able to stage a full stage musical, but it's just to give the transition year kids the opportunity to be able to see what the rehearsal process is like and what you have to go through in order to kind of get a show up and ready for a stage. So I'm really, really excited about that. Really looking forward to getting back into that. So it seems like we've all had good weeks, and we're all very positive and looking forward to the year ahead. And of course, looking forward to all the antics that Shades of Gay is going to be bringing to all of you over the next year. So without further ado, let's get into topics. All right, this is where we bring you all the news and views, and of course, lots of shade. So I'm going to start ladies first. Rob, what is your topic for this week?
I want to know what the best advice you've ever been given was. My father would always say things like, be nice to people you meet on the way up because you may meet them on the way down. So I just want to know, what's the best advice you've ever been given? And I'll open it up to the floor.
Well, I'll kick it off. I suppose the best advice I've been given, and it's not a saying, it's not a phrase, and because we all know, like, Irish mammies have those amazing, like, one-liners, like, what's for you won't pass you, and all those kind of things. I mean, you can't beat them. But when I was growing up, there was a lady who lived down the road from us, a wonderful, wonderful lady by the name of Bertie Donovan, and she set up a youth group here in Cara Park in the West Side for us kind of underprivileged, I suppose, kids at the time, to get us off the streets, and we would sing and dance and act and stuff like that. And bless her, she was very good to me in the sense that she felt and kind of recognized that I had a little bit of talent. And she would always say to me, I remember being so young, and she'd always say to me, get up and get out and do something. And don't stay here just for the sake of staying here. Go and find yourself. Go and find your life. Go and do something and be somebody. And I remember, because as you guys know, I worked for a cruise line company over in the States for 10 years. I remember signing on to my first ship in New York thinking, like, I did it. I got up, I got out, and I did something. And it was great piece of advice, and I don't regret it. So anyone that's watching that's young and has an opportunity, if you get up and go out, go and do it. Take that opportunity, go and travel, go and see the world, because Galway is always going to be here. Our home is always going to be there. I came home, and I've been home for 5 years now. Oh, just gone 6 years, should I say? And I love being home. Absolutely love it. But I had a great time being away, so I will also pass that advice on to you.
We love having you home.
Thanks.
Susan, other than don't eat yellow snow, what's the best advice you've been given?
Well, I have to dispute Jay's advice. I don't want anyone to go anywhere because I'd miss them. Your advice sucks.
Not the first time I've been told that.
It did remind me of my catchphrase, which is head down, do the thing, which is like, whatever it is, you just put your head down, get it done, do the work, fuck everything else that's going on. Don't worry about what's going on in other people's worlds and stuff. Just put your head down and get what you need to do done. Was my catchphrase. My favorite piece of advice, and it's not that I've taken it, but there was a piece of advice that I think it was an aunt of mine told me, that was never put anything on the internet if you wouldn't be comfortable with it being on a billboard outside your granny's house.
Very
And yeah, except I wouldn't care what was on a billboard outside my granny's house.
hey.
So, but it is one that I say to the kids, and especially when my sons were younger, like when they were first going onto the internet and stuff like that, it was something that I was constantly saying to them. And maybe that'll be, you know, my New Year's resolution will be stop oversharing so bloody much on the internet. I doubt it, but you know, I'm sure some people hope.
A few years ago, Susan and I went to the Capitol for an interview, and one of the questions was around our social media presence. And I can remember being asked questions like, is there anything we should know? And I'm like, well, yeah, there's lots you should know. I said, the stuff that I should probably apologize for, but there's nothing that I'm going to deny or hide or be ashamed of. You know, yes, I've done stupid stuff and I may have mentioned it on social media now and again, but, you know,
But we need people like you guys, because I'll openly admit I'm not that kind of person on social media. I post pictures of my dog and I go, I'm having a great day and isn't life wonderful? But we also need people like you who are more than willing and open and honest to voice your opinions and get words out there. And I think you're very brave for doing it, because I wouldn't be able to handle the repercussions of comments and people contacting me and coming at me. You know, I just wouldn't be able for it. I'd be like, delete, block, overload. So, you know, we do need people like you out there. And, you know, you are probably 95% of the time, you're just saying what we're all thinking. So
Brad made a comment on Twitter a few years ago about a pop singer. I'm not saying which one.
No, you have to say it now.
Paloma Faith.
Okay.
I can't remember exactly what he said, but it was something about her speaking voice, not her singing voice at all. And it was something about what her speaking voice sounded like. It was a funny comment. It wasn't exactly what you'd call derogatory. It was hilarious, the comment he made. Suddenly, he was inundated with hundreds of Paloma Faith fans really having to go at him. How dare he say these kind of things? And they were really, really militant. Paloma Faith fans are not to be messed with.
I was going to say,
there's some good advice for you. Don't mess with Paloma.
Fuck with Paloma. I
Can
want to go back
can
to
we
that.
have that as the name of this episode? Don't mess with
Don't fuck with
Paloma.
Paloma. I want to just briefly go back to what Rob was saying about that interview, those interviews that he and I went for, because funnily enough, when I went in for because they were separate, but when I went in for my interview, I was asked, no, I wasn't asked about my social media presence. And towards the end of the interview, they kind of said, have you anything you want to ask us? And I was like, are you really not going to ask me about my social media? And they were like, I was like, did you have a look at it? And they said, oh yeah, we did. You did a charity run for repeal. You were raising money. You're wonderful. And I was like, you didn't go back far enough.
Keep scrolling.
That was last week. You gotta get way in there.
Daniel, what about you? Any advice that you've been given that you think that we should live by? Or
yeah, absolutely. It was kind of it wasn't given to me one person. It was given to me by my mum, my dad, and my wife, kind of in almost the same way, and it kind of gelled into just one core ethos. So for years, I attempted a college degree in arts, law, and social policy. I spent 6 or 7 years trying this, not liking it, not trying properly, and failing out. It's a lot of money wasted on fees I wish I had today. But at the end, I kept going back because I thought, my parents wanted me to have a degree. I need to have a degree. My wife or my girlfriend and fiance at the time had one. But then, kind of in different ways, they all said the same thing to me: is like, first of all, stop being guided by other people's expectations of what you should do with your life. And
Absolutely.
second of all, don't assume someone else's expectations. Like my parents, yeah, they would have been delighted if I'd got a degree and done well, but they're equally delighted that in I left college and got a job instead and was quite happy and had a nice home with Lindsay. So it was a kind of like, don't assume other people's motivations or wants for you, and even if you do know them, if that's not what you want, don't let them drive you.
I love that. That's really, really good advice. And I think that kind of topic is, I think, something that we could certainly discuss all night, because I think we've all had, all those kind of like different experiences. And like I said earlier on, the Irish mammies ones, I think we could dedicate an episode just to Irish mammies alone and on their sayings and all that. So we'll definitely get back to that. But we're going to move on. And we're going to move on to our next topic, which is coming from the lovely Susan. Susan, what are we talking about today?
We are talking about board games. It just so happens that when I was under pressure to think of a topic, I was standing in my TV room, and there happens to be hundreds of board games, many of which I've never played. I have a Serenity Monopoly. I have oh, look at Dan's face. I just think
Sorry.
but I've loads of board games, and we play, the kids tend to love Monopolies, or they did when they were younger, and we'd go away touring in the van and we would bring small board games, and, there'd be things like, what's that, Cards Against Humanity and things. But my favorite board game that we got, somebody within the family got it for Christmas last year, was a Game of Thrones version of Risk. And
okay.
When we sit down and play it, bearing in mind that this is me, my 3 teenage sons, and my former husband playing a game of Risk. All out war. It's brilliant. We are never speaking by the end of the night, any of us. It's great.
I have to do something now. Speaking of Game of Thrones Risk, you're gonna love this. I run to the other room, and I promise you it'll be worth it.
We've never had a guest leave the studio mid-filming before.
And we'll be right back after this commercial break.
Today, there's a beer for everyone.
Hey, me and the guys are going out for beer. You want to come along? Nah, I got a lot of data to enter into the computer tonight.
Now, there's a brew for the future.
Want me to bring you something back? Thanks, but I got some right here.
Microsoft Brew.
You got a beer tap on your computer?
With a head so thick you can float a mouse on it.
Let me get this straight. You make your own beer with the computer? With the right software, you can do anything.
Microsoft Brew.
Here, I call this one Windows 95. I don't know, it leaves a bad taste in my mouth.
Whilst you've done, should I tell you about my favourite board game?
Yes, that is the question. What is your favourite board game?
So I love...
Okay, I don't know how this is going to work.
He's got his own costumes, guys. Like, he's showing us up here. He's brought his own costumes.
Oh.
My goodness, that's brilliant.
I would
Why
not
do
do
you
well
think
in the
that
army.
is
That's very
okay?
uncomfortable. Yeah, I just had to get it there when we talked about Game of Thrones.
And we appreciate it very much. Thank you.
We
Rob, go
applaud
on,
the
tell us.
big
Board
costume
game.
change.
Say that again, Susan.
Oh, I said we applaud the mid-show costume change.
Absolutely, yes.
Not as fast as
Oh,
Katy
boy.
Perry or Britney Spears, but I'm working on it.
I'll find some way of cutting all that together, I'm sure.
So, okay, Rob, you tell us something about your favorite board game or something, because I got distracted with the costume.
ADHD.
So I love all types of board games. One of the ones that I've been playing a lot of the last few years, and I've gone to playing it on the iPad now as well, is Ticket to Ride. I don't know if you've heard of that one. It's you buy train routes across a country. The original one came out was North America, and it's this big North American map, and you play against other people, and you have to get as many routes built as you can. But of course, whilst you're building routes, you could be smashing your way straight through where somebody else wants to build a route. So it can get very kind of competitive and a little argumentative. I like those kind of board games. I'm not a massive fan of picking up the dice, rolling the dice, moving 4 places and picking up a card?
There's one thing that stops me from really enjoying board games, and that's a distinct lack of friends to play them with. So I would love to. I have several friends who love board games, and they play them with all their friend groups, but it never seems to gel. But so, like, I've not tried really any board games. Just the usual family Christmas ones. And, like, I really want to play Risk. I really want to play Cluedo. I've never actually played any of these ones. But if I have to pick one that I had played of, because I'm a massive quiz nerd, I freaking love Trivial Pursuit, and I love just the looking down on people after Christmas dinner saying, "How did you not know that? I mean, come on! It's clearly a 17th century Tchaikovsky painting. Like, my God."
Duh. But for me, I have to say, board games, not my thing. Never really have. I lose interest very, very quickly and very, very easily when it comes to board games. Like
Did you have
Monopoly,
ADHD?
I don't really actually know. Yeah, I don't know how to play Monopoly. So, like, I'd just be like, "Oh, can we just make up our own rules and just like play like that?" And I'm not the kind of person that'll sit there and go through the instructions or the rules or anything like that. So I've never really been a big board gamey kind of guy. I got Operation once for Christmas when I was a kid, but that's not really a board game, is it? But yeah, I was going through I want to be a nurse phase, so I was like, I need to get Operation because it's so lifelike and realistic that it's really going to set me up for my nursing training for when I leave school. But obviously,
The only reason I
I'm
went
not
into nursing because I was good at operation. That's why I went into it.
But yeah, just really not for me. I find now I would be more into stuff that you'd probably get on the App Store, kind of like Heads Up, stuff like that. I prefer those kind of interactive games rather than the board games, because especially if people were flipping the board over and stuff like that, I'd be like, no, I'm out. Where's my wine?
Brad.
I'm out of here. Let's go. But hey, listen, lots of suggestions out there for people that if you are looking for board games, we've mentioned a few there, so make sure you go out and get some. And do let us know what your favorite board games are, if you have a favorite, what you like playing, and why you like playing them too. But we're going to move on now. We're going to go and talk to our special guest, coming all the way to us from Longford. Once again, it's the lovely Dan. How are you, Dan? Thank you once again for joining us.
Thank you. No, I'm thrilled to be here
have
and
you.
I'm having great
Great
crack.
to have you. Look, we're going to start kind of back a little bit, and then we're going to move forward. You were in Galway for a while, and you were working for Galway FM. You were a news reporter for Galway FM, correct?
Yeah, one of the many hats I wore in there. The joys of local radio. They don't really have you do one thing, or at least not in my case. So yeah, so news reporter and broadcaster, head of sound engineering, part-time receptionist, part-time producer, and probably half a dozen other things. So kind of a fun, weird, different 5 or 6 years in there, up until October 2020.
That's pretty cool, because I'm sure you go into a job sometimes and you're kind of like, well, I'm going in for this is my position, this is what I do. So it must be nice as well, especially in media and stuff, that you get all this other stuff thrown at you as well, and you're kind of like, oh well, I have to learn how to do this now, and I have to learn how to do that now. So in that sense, what was your probably what did you most enjoy out of all those different branches on your tree? What was it you most enjoyed when your time there?
It's kind of a toss-up because as I said earlier, I was failing out of college, doing 6 years, and then one of the summers I failed, I went and I did a 3-week course on how to run and present your own music radio show with a group called Learning Waves in Dublin, and that came with 3 weeks or 4 weeks of work experience. They organize it for you. So my fiance or girlfriend at the time, but anyways, Lindsay was working in Galway Bay FM after doing
as long as it's the same person, it's okay.
Yeah, no, it is. So she'd been doing a master's in there, and she was working there, so she kind of helped finagle a bit of work experience. So through work experience, I went in and I went to every single office and room in there, and they kind of just sat there and showed me bits and pieces. But a few things I gelled with. So at first I was in the newsroom with Lindsay, who she's was an amazing broadcast reporter and journalist. So she trained me up in how to do it, and then I did a few other jobs just to keep around the place. And for the first year or so, it was, a paid job here, a paid job there, kind of just scraping by. But as I was there, I trained up in different things. So I trained up sound engineering and eventually became the kind of de facto head of sound engineering there. So I'd be the main engineer and I'd book all the other ones. And that was a really cool job because I was the guy pressing the buttons, playing the songs, while the presenter was literally just, talking, never stop talking, please stop talking so I can play an ad break or a song. And then, in the meantime, I was doing shifts in news and just, doing more and more. And eventually it just came to the point where we want you to do both jobs. It's like, that's a lot of work. I'll do it if you give me this deal, I'll do it. Fine. And me walking out, just screaming internally, going,
yes! yeah. Try to be all cool walking out the door.
Oh yeah, and audibly squeaking as I walk, trying to get outside, like to ring Lindsay and ring my mother and go, it worked.
Did you used to go into the council meetings and report on the council meetings?
Yeah, a few times. I didn't do that as much now because usually there was someone else, but I definitely did a good few, and they were painful.
I knew when I saw you, I was like, I know him from more than just that once. I know him. I pre-COVID, and I would still, if it wasn't COVID times, I actually go into the council meetings for my own personal knowledge. Because you couldn't call it entertainment, but just because I'm blind and I knew I had seen you there. So sorry to divert the whole conversation, but I was like, I know him from somewhere else.
No problem at all. So as you were saying, your career now has changed slightly. Started your own business. Tell us the exciting times that are coming up for you and the new business.
So yeah, it's we decided to change everything, location, county, house, jobs, everything. So we both left our jobs in Galway and moved home to Longford, about 10 minutes away from both of our home houses, because we'd had a baby in January and then went straight into the lockdowns and everything. So for months it was just us in Galway. We didn't get to see my mother, Lindsay's parents or families. We were doing video calls, but they couldn't come up and see the new baby, my mum's only grandchild. So it was just, it made us kind of think, why are we in Galway? We should come home, because we had 2 close bereavements a year and a half ago, and we just thought, family's more important. Let's get home and let's get close. And to be honest, it's been such a wonderful idea. So we came home and started looking for jobs. I approached the local radio station thinking, do you want to give me a job there? I'll literally do anything. And they actually only got back to me in the last few days, so fingers crossed there might be something there. And my wife applied for a few jobs and was offered 1 or 2, but at the same time we were thinking, why don't you go into business yourself, Lynn? Like, she is gifted. She not only was a brilliant award-winning journalist, but she went on to work in digital marketing, social media, and like, my God, she just clicked with it. Like, it was amazing. She worked with Local Enterprise Office Galway. So we just thought, you are so good at this, and there is no one doing this sort of thing in the Midlands. Why not give it a go? And she set up her company, LC Digital, Lindsay Constein Digital. And in the last 2.5 weeks, Jesus Christ, she's exploded. She's got clients contacting her. I'd say by next month she'll have to turn down work. So I'm thinking of actually upskilling myself into something similar. Do a night course in digital media to help her out. At the moment, I'm the house husband. I'm the work. I'm not going to say working from home dad, but which has been brilliant, because now, while I was working the last 6 months, now I'm home with Ava every day, getting to just play with her and have the crack. And while she's doing that and kicking ass and being the breadwinner, I'm branching out into voiceover work. So I've bought some fancy new equipment, and I've been practicing using my voice for 31 years, to the point where my father used to say, "Think of the ozone layer, Daniel. Please stop talking." So I thought, why not try and monetize it? And I'm going to see, do people want voice work done, ads, terrible audiobooks, video game voices, or just me slowly talking them to sleep with my boring voice? So,
not boring at all.
I want that
actually really good. Yeah. That was actually good.
I can be British if British.
Susan does a mean Crown impression. She does a mean.
Really?
Come on, Susan. Let's hear it.
Can we get it?
one doesn't know if one wants to do the impression of Crown. I mean, really. Oh dear. One is going to have another drink and then go out and shoot a deer.
Well, it certainly sounds like you guys are becoming like, the power couple in Longford, and I'm glad
That's a low bar to hit to start off. But,
not at all. But I'm glad things are picking up for you guys, because obviously, you said there that you were in Galway and missing family and not being able to see each other, and it is a big step moving, especially with a young a new baby. So I'm glad things are picking up for you guys, and we're very, very excited for everything that's happening for you all. And please do keep in touch with us. Let us know how everything's going, and if anyone wants to get in touch and find out more about the business and everything that they're up to, please do let us know, and we'll be able to pass on all that information and get you guys in touch. Dan, I want to say a huge massive thank you from all of us to you, and a big thank you to the fiance and to Ava for letting us borrow you for a little while. It was an absolute pleasure. You're a gentleman, and we really enjoyed having you on the show. Rob and Susan, as always, pleasure, never a chore. Love you guys to bits. Thank you so much. And
Dan,
to you, wonderful viewers.
Dan, before you go, give us a promo for Shades of Gay.
Oh yeah, give us a little voice.
Fantastic talent.
Okay.
Something like you're watching Shades of Gay TV or something like that.
in a world gone mad, there is one bastion left of light, shade, and happiness. It's Shades of Gay TV. That was.
I love it.
No,
And we're allowed
no.
to use that free of charge, I presume. Just get that on air.
I mean, if you want to turn viewers off, yes, go for it.
Perfect. Right, we've got it.
That's going in
And
the.
I'll stay on and chat to you all night. Well, there's so many things that I'd love to chat to you about. So I'm going to stalk you and find you and make you use my Queen accent for something or another at some stage.
Absolutely. Give Susan a gig.
We can have Dan. We can have Dan back.
Subcontract out.
Yeah. Thanks a million, everybody. Thanks to you at home for watching, and make sure that you tune in for our next episode of Shades of Gay. Don't forget, make bad choices. Bye, everybody.